Zimbabwe, home to 15.18 million people, 52% of whom are women, largely agro-based, with agriculture contributing 11.7% to GDP. Our economy largely dominated by the micro, small and medium enterprises, 60% of which are owned by women and contribute more than 60% of GDP. From households to communities, villages to cities, inclusivity is key to building resilient and sustainable livelihoods. An economy where every Zimbabwean has an equal opportunity to participate in economic development and contribute meaningfully to the country's development agenda. This is Zimbabwe, the breadbasket of Africa. In Zimbabwe, financial inclusion is at the center stage in the country's economic growth agenda. Zimbabwe's national financial inclusion transformational journey. A story of hope, resilience, and a brighter future for all Zimbabweans. Financial inclusion is the effective and informed use of a wide range of quality, affordable, and accessible financial services by all Zimbabweans on a sustainable basis, provided in a fair and transparent manner through formal financial entities.
No one and no place will be left behind.
Financial inclusion is at the core of inclusive and sustainable economic growth, as it facilitates not only the integration of the unbanked into the formal economy, but massive creation of entrepreneurs and small and micro businesses, which reduce economic inequality and makes the poor less vulnerable to financial shocks.
The National Financial Inclusion Strategy 1 was running from 2016 to 2020. And during that strategy period, we were focusing on access to finance. And we have recorded quite significant milestones. And of note, the proportion of adults with access to formal financial services increased from 69% in 2014 to 83% in 2022. We also saw the proportion of micro, small and medium enterprises that are formally served by financial institutions improving from 18% in 2012 to 95% in 2022.
The National Development Strategy of Zimbabwe says we want to grow our society, our economy, to become an upper middle income economy, which is inclusive. So inclusivity is not just financial inclusion in Zimbabwe, it's bigger inclusivity in the whole terrain of economic activities and other non-economic activities.
The National Financial Inclusion Strategy 2022 to 2026 requires having in place financial inclusion governance structures. The required governance structures comprise of the National Steering Committee, the National Technical Committee, and a Secretariat. In addition to that, there are 10 thematic working groups that were constituted.
So when you look at financial literacy and you look at the issues of financial inclusion, you discover that financial illiteracy plays a critical role in making sure that people are excluded from formal financial services because they are not able to make informed financial decisions. So financial literacy is critical, is a critical component of financial inclusion because it empowers the vulnerable groups with the necessary skills and knowledge to actually interact with the financial services providers and with the financial products.
Financial inclusion, it is a key driver for sustainable economic and social development, and it's a journey that starts with empowering individuals, households, communities, and the nation at large. The 2014 Finscope Consumer Survey indicated that only 69% of the population was financially included, up from 39% in 2011, while only 68% of women were financially included. Uptake of insurance products was at 26% in 2014, while formal uptake of capital markets was negligible. But why were the majority excluded from accessing financial services? A number of barriers to financial inclusion have been identified. Lack of collateral, lack of credit history, high levels of financial illiteracy, affordability of financial services, and high levels of poverty, among others. Finscope consumer and MSME surveys were conducted in 2022 to review impact of the financial inclusion initiatives under NFIS 1 and to establish baseline statistics for the development of the next phase of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy. The improvement in access saw a jump in overall financial inclusion from 69% to 83% in 2022. Women financial inclusion improved over the same period from 68% to 83%, while the financial inclusion gap narrowed from 23% to 12%. Rural and smallholder farmers inclusion improved from 62% to 79%. Uptake of insurance products remained low at 22%, while uptake of capital markets was at 2%.
What we also provide as a commission is education and awareness. The capital market awareness is very low, as the various pieces of research have already informed us. We know this, and it does have a label of being elite and fairly exclusive. So our role is to break down these barriers and ensure via the work and the engagement that the commission does proactively that these markets are open to everybody. The regulator has developed a capital market index which assesses the level of knowledge out there, the attitude of investors to the capital market, and finally the practice, are they investing? These combined interventions are what we believe will continue to sustain the growth of capital market investment.
The MSME's financial inclusion improved significantly from 18% in 2012 to 95% in 2022.
On our part as the regulator, we have created an environment where the insurance companies or the insurance service providers and the pension funds are able to provide or introduce into the market products that promote inclusive insurance and inclusive pensions. So we have implemented a number of initiatives in this area. We have introduced the microinsurance framework and the micro pensions framework, which allow for the licensing and registration of dedicated microinsurers and pension and micro pensions who offer products that address the needs of the marginalized, the needs of those with low and irregular income.
Digital financial services played a key role in the improvement of financial inclusion on the access strand.
The Post and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe, that's POTRAZ, is actively working to bridge the digital divide, which is a foundational step for digital financial service. It enhances access and use of digital financial services through initiatives that promote digital inclusion. For example, the authority has actually established 202 community information centers throughout the whole country, primarily in rural areas.
As part of initiatives to support the country's transformative and inclusive agenda towards a prosperous and empowered upper middle income society by 2030, leaving no one and no place behind, the Reserve Bank championed the development of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy 1, 2016 to 2020. The focus of NFIS 1 was to promote access to formal financial services by the marginalized and financially excluded groups, especially women, youth, micro, small and medium enterprises, rural and smallholder farmers, persons with disability, and the pensioners and the elderly. Interventions including establishment of Women's Microfinance Bank and Empowerment Bank, mobile money interoperability, the credit registry, establishment of women's desks and MSME desks, and innovation hubs. Operationalization of the collateral registry was a game changer, allowing the marginalized to use movable assets to secure loans from financial institutions. Value chain financing became key to financing the agriculture sector. Collaboration with financial inclusion stakeholders played a key role in the financial inclusion success story in Zimbabwe. Significant progress on promoting access was registered, setting the tone for broader financial inclusion interventions. While significant progress was made under NFIS 1 on the access strand, usage of financial services remained low, largely due to high levels of financial illiteracy, high levels of informalization for MSMEs, lack of adequate business skills, high cost of accessing finance, and limited financial product range. For persons with disabilities, some of the constraints included discriminatory social norms that led to stigmatization, lack of assistive technology to access financial services, and lack of formal identification to facilitate Know Your Customer due diligence. The Reserve Bank, in collaboration with Financial Inclusion Implementing Partners, championed the development and implementation of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy 2, 2022 to 2026, whose main objective is to increase the uptake and usage of financial services by the marginalized groups, which were identified under NFIS 1. The foundational pillars of NFIS 2, in line with countries' developmental aspirations, are financial innovation, consumer protection, and financial capability.
As Deposit Protection Corporation, DPC, our mission goes beyond safeguarding deposits. We are building trust, confidence, and inclusion in Zimbabwe's financial system. Our initiatives mainly focus on empowering individuals, businesses, and communities to make informed financial decisions and access formal financial services. Our nationwide radio roadshows, held in partnership with ZBC Radio Services, brought our messages to both urban and rural audiences, from Chiredzi to Lupani, Labusi to Epworth, reaching an estimated 6 million listeners through live broadcast and digital platforms. We participated in major national and regional events such as the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair and provincial agricultural shows, together with other partners, IPEC, RBZ, SECZIM, POTRAS, Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, and the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. We empowered citizens in rural and urban areas through financial literacy, ensuring inclusivity for all, including women, youth, and persons living with disabilities. These efforts continue to nurture a generation that understands the value of saving, investing, and financial security. Inclusivity remained at the heart of our approach. Our communication materials were translated into 8 out of 16 official languages, including Chewa, Tonga, and Kalanga, among others. We developed Braille and information materials to ensure that persons with visual and hearing impairments have equal access to information about deposit protection. We also collaborated with the National Council for the Disabled Persons in Zimbabwe, Dorothy Duncan and Jairus Giri Center, empowering people living with disabilities with financial literacy and entrepreneurship training. Women and youth were a key focus. Through collaborations with the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce and Women Alliance of Business Associations in Zimbabwe, WABAS, we supported women and youth entrepreneurs to strengthen their financial knowledge and business resilience. To promote dialogue within the financial sector, DPC conducted provincial workshops for banks, media, and community groups, strengthening partnership across regulators, policymakers, and financial institutions. We remain committed to advancing financial inclusion, consumer protection, and public confidence in line with Vision 2030, National Development Strategy, and the Financial Inclusion Strategy for Zimbabwe. Together, we are building a financially literate and inclusive society where every Zimbabwean can protect and grow their hard-earned money. Deposit Protection Corporation, protecting your deposits. Thank you, Mazvitata Tender.
Microfinancing, MSME and entrepreneurship development and devolution.
A lot of progress has been made since 2020, when the National Development Strategy 1 was put into place by His Excellency.
These infrastructure development that have been done have a great impact on the financial inclusion of the different communities that are being serviced by these 92 local authorities.
Takutona kutochinja kwezvinhu zvekutoti even usavi takukwanisa kutodyawo nefishi, muriwo tiri kukwanisa kutotemhawo miriwo tichitoendesawo kudzimba, mimwewo ichitengeswa tichiwanawo kamari kekuti tiwedzere kutenga tumasidzi zvakare kwekuti tirambe tiri pamberi neprojekti yedu iyi.
Taingorarama upenyu hwekuti hatizivikanwa kuti mari tinoiwana kupi, asi ko zvino totoziva kuti tikamuka makuseni takuya kugadheni torima zvinhu zvedu totengesa, kupera kumwedzi tinotowana kamari totokwanisa kuraramisawo mhuri yedu.
Ndiri kuona isusu tasimukirawo kubva tinenge tawedzerawo dzidzo yedu 1 ende tinenge takugona kuchengetawo nhamba yehuku dzakawandisa zvekusvika ku1000 ende tinenge takugona kurima chikafu sezvo tati tiri kumboshandisa manyuwa kurima chibage chekuti tizosubstituta kutenga straight feed takutenga maconcentrate, saka tichange takugona kugadzira chikafu tichishandisa manyuwa tichirima tega.
The interventions that continue to play a key role include financial literacy programs, including financial literacy in Braille.
The basis of every share investment is the principle of limited liability, which says shareholders are only legally responsible for the company's debt only to the extent of the amount of capital investment. This principle encourages people to invest in companies as shareholders without worrying about personal liability for its debt. Limited liability.
Credit registry.
So what it does, credit registry, is that it's a repository, it's a pool of a database which contains the credit history of different clients. It actually has got the footprints on how the customer has been behaving, especially those borrowing clients from the banking sector.
Collateral registry.
Bank vaitaura kuti ivo vanoda chibatiso kuti tikupe mari yekuti utenge ma-inputs, asi kubveyo hatina kuzviona izvozvo. Vanongouya vachiona kuti iwe wakamira sei pamba pako, ndopa vanotongoona kuti munhu anoqualifya kuti tumupe mari yaari kuda kana kuti toita kudzi.
2014 ndatanga Vheya, takaenda segroup, ndakabatsirwa kugroup kuningirire kuVheya, takaita malonzi, takatora mari. Ndopa ndakatanga kuuya ndaakurima kumunda, ndichirima makebichi, mafine beans, magaka, green maize. Ndakatanga kusumuka, ndakavhura tuckshop yangu. Ndavhura tuckshop yangu, ndichipedza kubhadhara Vheya ndavhura tuckshop, takarimiwa imwe mari. Ndakaya futi ndakadzokera mumunda. Ndadzokera mumunda, ndakaharvesta makebichi angu, ndakakalkuleta mari yangu, maprofit yangu ndakaisa pasite. Imwe ndakanodzorera kuVheya. Ndakatanga kuona kuti profit ndingaite sei. Ndikati beta kututsira business rangu risumuke.
SME Guarantee Scheme.
As we approach the bank for acquire our facility of solar 50 kVA, they asked for us a 100% guarantee or security cover, which we didn't have. And without the SME Credit Guarantee Scheme, I don't think we would have fulfilled this project in any way. What we sort of want to inform or to give advice to everyone, which is very, very important, that don't sort of think about brilliant ideas or don't think of that you don't have money, you can't achieve it.
This was a game-changing initiative which improved access to finance for the underserved groups. The bank, in collaboration with financial inclusion stakeholders, launched the inaugural annual Financial Inclusion Conference in October 2023 as a platform to facilitate dialogue among financial inclusion stakeholders on topical issues that foster the building of sustainable and inclusive financial systems. This has become an annual event. The bank has also collaborated with international financial inclusion stakeholders in a bid to adopt international best practice in financial inclusion. The Zimbabwe financial inclusion journey continues as we seek to empower all Zimbabweans towards building resilient and sustainable livelihoods through increased uptake and usage of appropriate, affordable, sustainable, and quality formal financial services in line with our developmental aspirations. Together, we can do it.